So here we're getting into the foundations of the United States government. The first thing that we're going to talk about here is just going to be the governing documents, starting with the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. We're just going to briefly talk about what the Declaration of Independence is, and then about what the Constitution is, and how this still is what we use to this day to govern ourselves. From there, we'll talk about what beliefs led to the creation of those two documents, starting with the three common beliefs of most of our early English settlers. These three order government, limited government, and representative government, and that it's going to be how the government and the people interact with each other. And then we get into the purpose of that government, so that the government should mirror what the people want, and that if they don't, that the people have the right to remove those government officials, and that's in social contract theory. So we'll just kind of talk about what the purpose of the government is. From there, get into the early governing efforts and what that looked like. Divine right of kings theory, which is kind of like the mandate of heaven, but it's basically saying that God selects a royal family to lead rather than just a person, and that they communicate with that king or queen, whatever it may be. Get into how the colonists were basically in charge of taking care of England and themselves, and why this kind of created a rift between the two countries. This leads to the Continental Congress and how the colonies were going to try and figure out this problem that they had with the English government. The main thing here is that they just decide that they're going to meet again, and that comes in the form of the Second Continental Congress. And at this point, they're pretty much at war, and so we kind of talk about how the colonies move towards that independence and move towards that towards the war efforts here. We get into the first formal government that the colonies have here, and that's our Articles of Confederation. So we just kind of talk about some of the characteristics of it, and we get in specifically into the strengths and weaknesses that the Articles of Confederation has. So this is going to be focusing on the government side of history, not so much worried about what was happening with the revolution, just, what was the government doing and what were the colonists doing. So here we have all of our presenters' notes down below here. As you can see, we got a couple things written for each slide. And the key here is that most of this is going to be brief, so we can kind of move quick through everything and not spend a whole lot of time on one particular thing.